Sumptuous victory for the Jammu and Kashmir National Conference, and the man of the moment, Omar Abdullah, is joining us here on Republic. Omar Sahab, thank you so much for talking to Republic. Since Jammu and Kashmir has given a huge mandate to the National Conference, and Farooq Abdullah Sahab has yesterday said that Omar will be the face of the new government if this materializes. How do you see your role as the chief minister? Because now it's UT and the role of chief minister has diminished. How are you going to navigate?
Look, I'm not going to presume what the legislative party will do, but that's not the important part. The important part is the second part of your question, which is how will the incoming government navigate? Obviously, these are realities. We can't wish them away. That said, I believe that it's a temporary phase. I've always said that this is not the assembly we deserve, it's not the assembly we want, but this assembly is a step towards that assembly. The Honourable Prime Minister, Honourable Defence Minister, Honourable Home Minister, time and again in speeches have assured the people of Jammu and Kashmir that statehood will be restored. The BJP always said that it's a three-step process: delimitation, election, statehood. 2 steps are done. Delimitation complete, elections complete. Now third step, statehood.
Do you see that the promise that have been made by the Prime Minister, that promise will be fulfilled sooner, or how are you going to take the steps further to get the statehood?
Look, I believe that obviously this is a priority matter for the incoming government. I would advise that once the government is in place, in the first cabinet meeting, they should have a single point agenda, which is to pass a resolution asking Government of India to restore full statehood for Jammu and Kashmir. And then the Chief Minister, perhaps accompanied by some of his ministers or even on his own or her own, should travel to Delhi, meet the Honourable Prime Minister, Home Minister and others, present them with this cabinet resolution and ask them. I think the people of Jammu and Kashmir deserve some sort of recognition and some reward and appreciation for the way in which they participated in this election. The Prime Minister has welcomed the turnout. The Prime Minister has, in his tweets yesterday, talked about how Jammu and Kashmir was very much a part of the Indian democratic setup. And the people of Jammu and Kashmir willingly came out. There's not a single complaint of a voter being forced to come out and vote. So the large turnout that you had came from people who willingly went to the polling booths and cast their votes. I think they deserve some sort of recognition for this. And the best recognition this government can give is to restore statehood, because it's an issue on which there is no division. On 370, I can understand. There are huge divisions, regional, political, everything. 370 is an issue on which there is no division. BJP, Congress, National Conference, everybody says restore statehood. So do it.
But now we see that as long as J&K is going to be UT, the more the powers will be with the Lieutenant Governor.
Well, obviously a lot of that depends on the Lieutenant Governor. I'm sure that the incoming elected government will not look for a fight with the Lieutenant Governor, will not provoke a fight with the Lieutenant Governor. But it's also for the Lieutenant Governor to recognize that he's no longer the sort of unchecked leader of Jammu and Kashmir. There is now an elected government, and that elected government carries more credibility than a nominated Lieutenant Governor. So I think the two will have to find a way to work together.
How are you going to take the path further with your alliance partner, who couldn't do much better as expected? They are now in the single digits. So you being the majority stakeholder, how are you going to take it further as far as the ministerial berths are concerned?
Look,
and other things?
We're not in the business of conducting coalition negotiations in the public domain. Obviously, these are matters that are going to have to be discussed. There's going to be some amount of give and take that is necessary, and we'll do that. We are reasonable and responsible political parties. This is not the first coalition that we are a part of. So give us some time, and we'll put things into place.
Omar Saab, earlier the LG said that they have the powers to nominate 5 MLAs. Though National Conference has also put their stand before it, but it is not going to make any major difference. But if LG goes ahead by nominating,
I'm not going to sort of presume or predict what the Lieutenant Governor is going to do. I would actually appeal to their sort of good sense not to do it. Simply because these 5 will make no difference.
But if in case...
then we'll answer this question. We'll answer the question at that time. But it will be unfortunate because here I am talking about establishing a good working relationship. And yet the first thing they will do is to inject friction into the relationship. Yes. Because obviously them nominating these members is not going to go down well. It's not even, I don't believe it's appropriate, nor is it necessary. And the reason I say this is because these 5 members are not going to change the structure of the assembly. These 5 members are not going to suddenly bring the BJP into the majority. I can still understand if the gap between us and the BJP was 1 or 2 seats. And with these 5, BJP would suddenly become the ruling party. Then fine, then it would be a matter for the courts to settle. But even with these 5, nothing will change because there are quite a few independents who will identify with us. So our margin will go up. All that you will do is put 5 marginalized sections of the community into the opposition. Why shouldn't their voices be in the government? Why shouldn't their nominees be part of the government? Why should they be shunted into the opposition?
Okay. Now we say that the BJP claims that their vote share has increased more than 2% than what was there in the kitty in 2014 elections. And National Conference has also gradually increased their...
Vote share is a consolation prize. You talk about vote share when you don't win elections. BJP is not talking about vote share in Haryana.
Yes.
Why are they not talking about vote share in Haryana? क्योंकि वहाँ हुकूमत बनी ना, वो हुकूमत से ही खुश हैं. यहाँ हुकूमत नहीं है तो वोट शेयर की बात आ जाती है. Leave vote share, कोई बात नहीं.
How would you take care of the aspirations of the people from the Jammu region? Because National Conference has done.
I think it is very important that the incoming government gives a sense of ownership to Jammu. Jammu has a lot of angst, a lot of a lot of unhappiness that didn't reflect in the vote. Surprisingly, even though in our campaign we kept hearing complaints regarding Darbar move, regarding employment, regarding electricity, water, all sorts of things. When it came to voting, then voting was done on different sort of patterns. But it would be wrong to punish people just because they didn't vote for the coalition. And therefore, this government has a responsibility to be a government for everybody, whether they voted for us or not, whether they voted at all or not. Because by that logic, then 80% of Srinagar didn't vote. So does that mean this government does not represent those 80% of Srinagar? We owe it to the people of Srinagar, even if they didn't come to vote, to deliver on our promises to them. And similarly, we owe it to the people of Jammu. This government is as much theirs as it is anybody else's.
Omar Saab, security has always been a major challenge for the Jammu and Kashmir, given the kind of neighbors it shares the boundaries with. Though the home doesn't come directly with this sitting government now, but how are you going to take care? Because many statements were floated that they are the ones who want to spread terrorism, but people have shown what they want on ground. So how are you going to take
Well, it's again one of those sort of tricky balancing acts that we'll have to negotiate. Give us time. At the moment, we have no sort of relationship at all with the Lieutenant Governor. He doesn't know us, we don't know him. So give us time to figure out how to work with each other. But again, I make the point that I believe this is a temporary phenomenon. The people of Jammu and Kashmir deserve to be given their statehood back. And when that is done, then all these matters will be for the union government.
Things will fall in line.
I believe so, but things will fall in line before that also. We're not irresponsible people.
One last question. What is your vision for the people of Jammu and Kashmir?
Well, I think in large parts that vision is already outlined in the manifesto. I don't have to say more than that.
anything that you want to focus if you assume the chair?
I think there are far too many things we want to focus on. The thing will be, what should we put on the back burner, because there are so many issues that trouble people, and obviously we will have to address as many of them as possible.
If you can name.
Oh, far too many to mention, but I mean, you live here, you know what those issues are.
I'm grateful for joining us here, for talking to Republic and sharing your vision. Thank you so much, Omar Abdullah.